Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Finadian here. I'd like to welcome you all back to another video where today I'm going to be talking about what the Miami Dolphins starting lineup is going to look like going into this 2021 season. I've seen a few different publications like Pro Football Focus and Bleacher Report release some articles talking about what they think the Dolphins starting lineup is going to look like. So I thought it would be fun to do my own video talking about it with a little bit of a twist. As you can see, I've included a few of the backup players that I think are going to get a lot of action this season as well. So let's start with the offense, then do the defense, and then talk about the special teams and give us some guys some shout outs that I think might get a lot of action this year as well that didn't quite make the cut. So starting with the easy one, QB Tua Tagovailoa. It's been pretty much confirmed that he's going to be the starter this year. The whole offense has essentially been built around him. A lot of high expectations for the guy coming into year two. Really excited to see what he does this year. Now, running back Myles Gaskin was the starter last year at the end of the season. There's been a lot of talk about him at OTAs this year being the starter, and I'm looking forward to see what he does as well, especially comboing with Malcolm Brown, who they signed this year from the Rams to be that more bruiser style running back to combo with a more smaller pass catching, like lighter on his feet kind of running back that Myles Gaskin is. Expecting Malcolm Brown to get some work maybe also when we're in the gun formation, running two running backs, and I can see him getting a lot of snaps also depending on what kind of defense we're going up against. If we need more of a tougher run between the tackles guy, see a lot of Malcolm Brown that game. Need some more pass catching, explosiveness out of the backfield. Big Miles Gaskin game. Looking at these receivers, Devontae coming back off injury. Love to see it. Hopefully he could, go back to like he was before he was injured and during his breakout year there. Jalen Waddle, the rookie they got, going to see starting in the slot. To his boy from Alabama. Really excited to watch Jalen Waddle play. I know there's a lot of pretty big expectations for him. So let's see what he could do this year. Comboed with Will Fuller, the other super speeder that we got from the Houston Texans. Well, we didn't get him from the Houston Texans. He played for the Houston Texans. They didn't sign him. The Dolphins signed him. And this is a pretty explosive trio, a really solid trio. And then you also mix in Preston Williams, who I think is going to get a lot of action, especially in that first game when Fuller is suspended. I expect to see Preston, step up that game, show that he also deserves to get a lot of snaps. And then also, if we're ever running a four wide receiver kind of formation, I expect Preston to be the other guy going in there. And, if we're ever resting Parker or Waddle, seeing Preston go in for those guys. So expect him to, do a lot this year as well. And then at tight ends, Mike Gesicki and Durham Smythe. Mike Gesicki, the pass catching expert tight end. Durham Smythe, the more all around kind of blocking, can line up at fullback kind of tight end. Mike Gesicki had the most amount of snaps out of all our tight ends last year, but Durham Smythe actually had the most amount of starts. So expect both of these guys to get a lot of work uh, in this 2021 season. And now looking at this offensive line, everything else I've said so far is pretty like I'd say like not really debatable. Like a lot of people kind of agree on it, but this offensive line is where I see most of the different predictions here. So left tackle, I think Austin Jackson stayed there. He was solid as a rookie last year. Expect him to develop some more. And then we got the center Matt Skura, who we signed in free agency this year, played for the Ravens. I think the thing with him is he did pretty solid when it came to pass protecting, did really good at run blocking, but he had some pretty bad snaps, so we'll see if he can get his snapping under control. I could see him being really good for the Dolphins. If he doesn't, then that could be a bit of an issue for us. Now looking at left guard, I think Kinley's getting moved over to left guard. His best games last year were at left guard compared to right guard. And then on the right side of the line, I think Robert Hunt will be getting moved from right tackle to right guard. When we first drafted Hunt, there was a lot of talk about how he would be a better guard than tackle. This is more natural position. We did play him at right tackle last year where he was solid, but I think that's where we'll probably see the rookie Liam Eichenberg play. That's not really set in stone. A lot of people are kind of going with this as like what's most likely going to happen, but I could also see something happen where, let's say, we put Eichenberg at guard, keep Hunt at right tackle, and Kinley at right guard, or maybe even something where Eichenberg plays left tackle and then Austin Jackson gets moved to left guard. those are all possibilities, but this is what I think is most likely. And then Jesse Davis, I think he's like their go-to backup. He could play all guard, all tackle positions. He even can start, I think, right? Like if Eichenberg needs some more time to develop, I can see Jesse Davis starting at right guard or right tackle. And I think he'll get a lot of action too, especially if we're bringing in like a sixth offensive lineman on a running play or something like that. So, feeling pretty good about this offense. A lot of young, talented players with a lot of potential. We're just going to have to see if they're able to reach it. I'd say the biggest strength is probably going to be the wide receivers, which is pretty good because that was a pretty huge weakness for us last year. But I still see the offensive line most likely being the biggest problem for the Dolphins offense this year, unless they can, take a big step this year, which would be really nice to see. So, let's look at this defense. I have them in the nickel. I know we ran the 3-4 as our base last year, but around 71% of the Dolphins snaps were from the nickel formation, so I expect them to do the same thing this year, especially based on the moves they've made this offseason. So let's start the D line at the edge, Emmanuel Ogbah. We signed him last year. He was great for the Dolphins last year. Hopefully, he continue to do the same thing and have another big year in his second year with the Dolphins. Hopefully, hit that 10 sack mark. I think he was just short at 9 last year, so if he could get 10 this year, that'd be pretty sweet. At defensive tackle, I got Raekwon Davis. He was really great for the Dolphins last year as a rookie that we drafted in the second round. Didn't start the season as a starter, eventually earned that starting role. And I believe at the end of the year, PFF had him rated as the third highest defensive rookie last year. So that's something you really love to see. Hopefully, he could build upon his rookie year from last year. Defensive tackle Christian Wilkins will be lined up next to him. Uh, Brian Flores, his first draft pick, the culture setter for this Dolphins team. The dude's been rock solid for us in the middle of our D line ever since we've drafted him, and I expect him to continue to do the same thing this year. And our other edge player here, I got the rookie Jalen Phillips. Huge expectations for this guy. I've seen a lot of people talk that they think he might be defensive rookie of the year. A lot of people predicting he's going to get like 6+ sacks this year. Would be awesome for the Dolphins defense because our edge rush was probably our biggest weakness on the defense last year. So Jalen Phillips could come in here and, play as expected to be. Ogbach could continue to play as good as he did last year. This defensive front four can be very dangerous. Now let's talk about these backups here. So Zach Sealer, one of the diamonds in the rough the Dolphins found, gave him a contract last year. We see him rotating in all the time at defensive tackle and edge. Some games he might even start depending on the opponent. Brian Flores always changes up who's starting depending on who the Dolphins are playing, which makes predicting these defensive starters pretty difficult. We also got Adam Butler, the DT from the Patriots we signed in this free agency. Can also expect him to see some work at nose tackle, but I expect him to be in the mix quite a bit, trading in with Christian Wilkins, Raekwon, even as I said, being nose tackle, depending on who we're playing and what formation we're in, and then Andrew Van Ginkel, AVG. Uh, I expect him when we're in the 3-4 to be the other outside linebacker alongside Jalen Phillips starting whenever we're in that formation. If the 3-4 is our base again, I can see him being listed as a starter. He had his breakout year last year. There's talk about how the Dolphins essentially got rid of Kyle Van Noy, so we can see Andrew Van Ginkel, get some more action this year, get some more playing time. So there are some expectations for Andrew Van Ginkel to step up this year, and I think he's going to do that. He's continued to improve his entire time with the Dolphins, so why wouldn't he continue to do that going into the year 3 here? And looking at this linebacker core here in the middle, speaking of linebackers, Benardrick McKinney, who we got from trading Shaq Lawson to the Houston Texans, that like run stuff and big thumper linebacker, could kind of be the quarterback of the defense, I guess you can say, that leader, making calls to people, telling them where to go. Experienced, solid player here. That's going to be good to have in the center of the defense alongside Jerome Baker, long-time Dolphin. Well, I guess not really long time, but considering most of the players on this team are new, long time. All-around linebacker, can blitz, can cover, can do pretty much anything he's asked to. I see them being like the main two linebackers we use, and then Landon Roberts will come in on running downs when we're in the 4-3 is where we saw him a lot last year. I think we can all remember him, meeting running backs in the hole on 4th and 1 situations. You need a big stop. Landon Roberts is just shooting himself in there as that thumper style, making all the contact with the running backs. So feeling really good, honestly, about this defensive front for the Dolphins coming into this year. But let's talk about the real exciting part of the defense, which is the secondary. Xavier Howard, interception leader last year. A lot of people would say number one corner in the NFL. Had three, defensive player of the year votes last year. It'd be cool to see if he could get more. Be cool to see if he could get 10 plus interceptions again this year. I don't see why not. Unless he gets maybe injured or something. But big expectations for Xavier Howard to keep being like the star of this Dolphins defense. Byron Jones, CB2, Dolphins signed last year, was really solid for Miami. He did have an injury at the start of the year last year, which I feel like kind of hindered his overall performance. So I'm really excited to see what a fully healthy year from Byron Jones looks like, especially as he gets more time at the corner position. Because when he did play for the Cowboys originally, he was a safety that converted to playing corner. And then at the slot position, I think Justin Coleman will be the starter. There's been a lot of debate about who will start in the slot for the Dolphins, but Justin Coleman was right solid for the Lions. I expect him to be right solid for the Dolphins, but he's got Noah Igbenogany coming in competing for that starting spot. I also see Noah being the main backup for X and Byron. And if we are in like a dimes formation where we're running four corners, I see that fourth corner being Noah Igbenogany, as a lot of people are also expecting this guy to take a bit of a year two leap. And now looking at these safeties, I think having Eric Rowe as a strong safety starter is the safest pick here. He was really good for the Dolphins last year, pretty underrated. Expect him to be really solid again this year. And then a free safety, this is where there's been a ton of debate as well over who will start. I think it's going to be Jason McCourty, this corner safety hybrid from the Patriots that we signed this year. I think he'll beat out the other ones for the starting job at the start of the year just because this dude's like played in the league for over 10 years. He's played in and won Super Bowls. He knows Brian Flores. He played for him in New England. So I think he'll have the starting job at the start of the year, but I think Javon Holland can eventually take that free safety starting spot from him. I think we'll also see Javon play in the slot as well when we're in a big nickel formation. He did that a lot in college. Javon also sat out last year, so I think it might take him some more time to really, get into the groove of things. So I think having Jason McCourty as a starter at the beginning of the season is a bit of a safer pick. But even someone like Brandon Jones can even win the starting job. So let's look at these special teamers now that we've gone over the defense and the offense. I guess I should say my overall thoughts on the defense are I think it's going to be pretty awesome. I think this defense like can easily be a top 10 defense and even has a good shot at being like a top 5 defense in 2021, maybe even better, maybe even number 1 if all these young guys could continue to improve and reach their potential, which is kind of the theme for this Dolphins team. So, special teamers, Jason Sanders, All Pro last year. Let's see him be an All Pro again this year. He's kind of competing for that title of number one NFL kicker. He had like 20 plus kicks without missing a single one last year. So, love the leg, love the Sandman. Expecting big kicks to continue from him being thrown to him by his long snapper. I guess snapped to him is what I should say. Blake Ferguson, the rookie last year. There isn't too much I could say about him. He's a long snapper. He snaps really good. Let's see him continue to snap really good this year. And now punter, Michael Pilardi. That's a new name. Free agent we signed this offseason. Going to be replacing Matt Hawk. Uh, for Pilardi, he was injured last year, so he didn't play, but his years prior to that with the Panthers, he did bomb balls. So hopefully he continues to do the same thing with the Dolphins and can get back to his form that he was before he got injured. There really isn't too much to say about the special teams players. It's kind of either kick ball good, kick ball bad. Now let's go over these shoutouts that I got here. These are just some players that aren't going to be starters that I think will get a lot of action and rotate in quite a bit. They just didn't, make the cut as the other guys, I guess you could say. So Brandon Jones can be a starting strong safety and compete with Eric Rowe. Can also play that slot safety role. Maybe even see him start at free safety. Lynn Bowden Jr. was a rookie last year, showed a lot of promise, stepped up big for the team when we had multiple injuries at the position last year. So I expect to see him continue to develop. get some more action as a receiver, and even get in on those trick plays. He was a former quarterback too in college, and we did see him get used in that role. We also saw him whenever we were in like a wildcat formation, get some snaps. So we'll see what Lynn does in this 2021 season. Hunter Long, the rookie tight end, he'll get some playing time, but tight end does take a lot of time to learn in the NFL and develop. So I don't know if it'll be a lot at the start of the year, but I could see towards the end of the year Hunter Long getting more playing time. DJ Fluker, who we signed this offseason, I see him kind of competing with Jesse Davis to be that main backup. But like I kind of mentioned earlier, if Eichenberg needs some more time to develop, I can even see DJ Fluker kind of showing up and being our starting right tackle at the beginning of the year. And then Cethan Carter, I think he'll probably be the main fullback for the team, probably get some snaps at tight end. It's just the main thing I've seen about this guy is he's kind of considered to be more of a special teams ace than like just a straight up offensive player. So we'll have to see how many snaps does he get at special teams, how many does he actually get in the offense. If he is used as the main fullback, I don't know how much fullback we're going to use this year because we are mixing up the offense, new offensive coordinators, new completely brand new offensive scheme is what they've been talking about at OTAs. So depending on what this offense looks like, he could either get a lot of snaps or barely any. And that's pretty much what I think the Dolphins starting lineup is going to look like in this 2021 season. Who do you guys think? Is there someone that I should have had starting over one of these other guys? Who do you think will be the starting free safety? Who's going to be starting in the slot? Maybe do you think Preston Williams will be starting over Waddle or something at the beginning of the year? Who knows? Let me know your crazy takes and let in the comments below. Also, I'm looking for advice whenever I could get it on how to improve these videos. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more content, and until then, I'll see you in the next video.